Mahatma Gandhi, Full Story, Part 1. Hello, my name is Mohandas Gandhi, but people later called me Mahatma Gandhi, which means great soul. This is my story. Early life. I was born on October 2, 1869 in a small town called Porbandar in India. My family was not rich, but we were respected in our community. My father worked as a leader in the local government. He was honest and serious. He believed in justice and duty. My mother was very religious. She prayed every day and followed strict traditions. From her, I learned about faith, kindness, and self-control. As a child, I was very shy. I did not like speaking in public. I was afraid of making mistakes. But I always tried to tell the truth. Even when it was difficult, I believed that honesty was important. School years. At school, I was an average student. I was not the best, but I worked hard. I liked reading stories about great people. These stories inspired me to become a better person. One day, I read about a man who never lied, even in danger. This story stayed in my heart. From that moment, I made a promise to myself. I will always try to tell the truth. A young marriage. When I was only 13 years old, I got married. My wife's name was Kasturba. At that time, child marriage was common in India. But I was too young to understand marriage. I was sometimes jealous and immature. Later in life, I understood my mistakes. Kasturba was strong and patient. She became my partner in life and in my struggles. Journey to London. When I was 18, I got a chance to travel to London. I wanted to study law and become a lawyer. This was a big decision. Traveling abroad was not easy for people in my community. Before I left, I made a promise to my mother. I would not eat meat, drink alcohol, or live a bad life. In London, everything was different. The culture, the food, the people, all were new to me. At first, I felt lost and alone. I wanted to become like the English gentleman. I bought new clothes, learned how to dress well, and tried to speak confidently. But soon I realized something important. I was trying to become someone else. This made me unhappy. So I decided to be myself. I kept my simple lifestyle. I stayed true to my values. Learning and growth. In London, I studied law seriously, but I also learned about different religions and philosophies. I read books like the Bhagavad Gita and the Bible. These books taught me about truth, love, and non-violence. I started to understand a powerful idea. Real strength is not in fighting, but in peace. This idea would change my life forever. After finishing my studies, I returned to India. I wanted to work as a lawyer. But I had a problem. I was still very shy. In my first case, I was so nervous that I could not speak properly in court. I felt embarrassed and disappointed. I started to think, maybe I am not a good lawyer. I needed a new direction. A new opportunity. Soon, I got an offer to work in South Africa. A company needed a lawyer there. I decided to go. I did not know that this journey would change my life forever.
Part 2. Arrival in South Africa. I arrived in South Africa in 1893. I was 24 years old. I went there to work as a lawyer for an Indian company. At first, I thought it would be a simple job, but very soon I saw a different reality. Indian people were treated very badly. They were not respected. They had fewer rights than white people. This shocked me. The train incident. One night, I had a train ticket for first class. I sat in my seat quietly. But a white man saw me and became angry. He did not want an Indian man in the same class. He called the train officer. Even though I had a valid ticket, they told me to move to a lower class. I refused. I said, I have a right to sit here. But they did not listen. They threw me off the train at a station called Petermaritzburg. It was a cold night. I sat there, alone and shaking. A turning point. That night changed my life. I asked myself, should I go back to India or should I stay and fight this injustice? I decided to stay. But I did not want to fight with violence. I believed there must be a better way. Fighting injustice. I started to learn more about the problems of Indian people in South Africa. They had to carry special passes. They could not vote. They were treated as second-class citizens. This was wrong. I began to speak with the community. I listened to their stories. Slowly, I became a leader. Building unity. I realized something important. One person alone is weak, but people together are strong. So I brought people together. I helped create the Natal Indian Congress. It was a group to fight for rights. We wrote letters. We spoke to the government. We tried to change the system peacefully. A new idea. Non-violence. During this time, I developed a powerful idea. I called it Satyagraha, which means truth force. It means, do not use violence. Do not hate your enemy. Stand strong for truth. This was not easy. People asked me, how can we fight without violence? I answered, with courage, patience, and truth. First protests. We started peaceful protests. People refused to follow unfair laws. They did not carry passes. Many were arrested. Some were beaten. But they did not fight back. This surprised the government. Going to prison. I was also arrested many times. Prison was not easy. The conditions were hard. But I was not afraid. I believed that suffering for truth is powerful. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. A growing movement. Our movement became stronger. More and more people joined. Even some people from other countries supported us. The government started to feel pressure. After many years, some laws changed. This was a big success. A new Gandhi. South Africa changed me. I arrived as a shy lawyer, but I became a leader. I learned courage, discipline, the power of non-violence. Now I was ready for a bigger challenge. Return to India. After more than 20 years in South Africa, I returned to India in 1915. India was under British rule. People were poor. They had no freedom. I knew my work was not finished. In fact, it was just beginning. Part 3. Back to India. I returned to India in 1915. Many people welcomed me. But I did not start leading immediately. First, I wanted to understand my country. I traveled across India. I visited villages and cities. I saw something very painful. People were poor, hungry, and afraid. India was under British rule. The people had no real freedom. Learning from the people. I did not speak too much at first. I listened. I saw farmers working very hard, but earning very little. I saw workers living in bad conditions. I understood one thing. Real change must come from the people. Champaran movement. My first big action in India was in a place called Champaran. Farmers there were forced to grow indigo for British landlords. They suffered greatly. The farmers asked for help. I went there. The British officers told me to leave, but I refused. I said, I am here to help these people. Peaceful resistance began. I asked the farmers not to use violence. Instead, we collected information. We showed the truth. People stood together. Finally, the British government accepted some changes. This was a victory. It showed that peaceful resistance works. Simple life, strong message. I started to live very simply. I wore simple clothes made from hand-spun cloth called khadi. I used a spinning wheel every day. Why? Because I wanted to show people we must be independent. India should not depend on British goods. Non-cooperation movement. In 1920, I started a big movement. It was called the Non-Cooperation Movement. I asked people to stop buying British goods, leave British schools and jobs, not support the British government. Millions of people joined. This was powerful. A difficult decision. But one day, something went wrong. A protest turned violent. Some people attacked and killed police officers. I was very sad. I believed strongly in non-violence, so I made a difficult decision. I stopped the movement. Many people were angry with me, but I said, freedom without discipline is dangerous. Prison again. The British government saw me as a threat. They arrested me. I went to prison again. But prison did not stop the movement. People continued to believe in freedom. The Salt March. In 1930, I started one of my most famous actions. The British had a law. People could not make their own salt. They had to buy it from the government. This was unfair. Salt is something everyone needs. A long walk. I decided to walk to the sea. It was a long journey, almost 390 kilometers. People joined me along the way. At first, we were a small group. Then we became thousands. Then millions watched us. Breaking the law peacefully. When we reached the sea, I picked up a small piece of salt from the ground. This simple act broke the law, but it was peaceful. Soon, people all over India started making salt. The British arrested thousands of people, but the world was watching. Global attention. Newspapers around the world wrote about us. People in other countries supported India. They saw that we were not using violence. We were using truth and courage. A powerful message. I always said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Freedom was not just about politics. It was about dignity, respect, and self-control. A nation rising. India was changing. People were no longer afraid. They believed in themselves. The British Empire was strong, but the spirit of the people was stronger. The final struggle. By the 1940s, the situation in India was very tense. People wanted freedom. The British government was under pressure. But there was another problem. India was not united. There were strong tensions between Hindus and Muslims. People who lived together for many years were now divided. This made me very sad. Fighting for unity. I believed in peace and unity. I did not want India to be divided. I traveled across the country. I spoke to people. I said, we are all brothers and sisters. But fear and anger were growing. Independence at last. On August 15, 1947, India finally became free. After many years of struggle, the British left India. People celebrated everywhere. It was a historic moment. A painful division, but freedom came with a cost. India was divided into two countries, India and Pakistan. This is called the partition. Millions of people had to leave their homes. They moved to new places. There was violence. Many people lost their lives. Families were separated. Gandhi's sadness. While people were celebrating independence, I was not celebrating. My heart was heavy. I saw the suffering of the people. I fasted many times. I refused to eat. I wanted people to stop the violence. The power of fasting. For me, fasting was not just about food. It was a way to show pain, a way to ask for peace. When people saw me suffering, they felt ashamed of their violence. Slowly, some peace returned. Final days. I was now an old man, but I did not stop working. Every day I prayed. I spoke about peace and love. I believed that hate could not solve problems. Only love could. A tragic end. On January 30th, 1948, I was going to a prayer meeting in Delhi. A man came close to me. His name was Nathuram Godse. He did not agree with my ideas. He believed I was too kind. He shot me. Last words. As I fell, I said, "Hey Ram." This means, "Oh God." These were my last words. The world reacted. My death shocked the world. Millions of people cried. Leaders from many countries spoke about me. They called me a great soul. My legacy. I was not a perfect man. I made mistakes, but I always tried to follow truth and nonviolence. My message was simple. Do not hate. Do not use violence. Be honest. Help others. Final message. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. My life was my message, and my story is not just about me. It is about what one person can do with courage, truth, and love. The end, or a beginning. Even today, my ideas live on. People around the world still follow nonviolence. My journey ended, but the message continues. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to the channel. More inspiring life stories are waiting for you. Thank you for listening.